Norman leaders combat community divisions. 2 wildfires are scorching the Golden State. Find out how long this cold and rainy weather will last. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us at OU Nightly. I'm Zach Verdea.
And I'm Cal Day. We begin tonight with special training for Norman's Police Department.
OU Nightly's Tatum Wilson shows us what officers are learning and why. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Well, with Norman city leaders were also on hand Sunday afternoon for an important step in the opening of the new Norman Public Library.
OU Nightly's Olivia Whitehead joins us live from the location of the new library. Olivia?
Thanks, guys. I am standing in front of the new Norman Central Library, where the first collection of fairy tale novels was hand-delivered from the old location, all thanks to a massive human assembly line.
After book after book, traveling through the hands of more than 100 community members. Yesterday, people gathered in Andrews Park to take part in the Norman Central Library's relocation, all lending a helping hand, literally.
Basically, what's going to happen is we are going to form the longest human chain imaginable.
Community members linked arms, spreading out between the 2 locations.
We knew that we were going to move books across the park and let the community participate in sort of closing an era of a library on Webster Street and opening a new era on Acres.
And with the huge turnout, they did.
When you started seeing the line forming, you know, your heart just gets happy and you just think this is going to happen. And you know, how special for the community to participate in that way.
And that was the goal, to offer locals a part in building the new age of Norman Central Library.
I think it's a time when, you know, you're sort of looking back but also looking forward. And so I think for a lot of families who maybe the parents grew up going to Norman Central on Webster and then to participate with their family moving into a new library and knowing that those children and young adults are going to be able to say, I moved the first book into that library and kind of pass that story along.
Blocking the road, you can let them go now. Oh, you did already.
Now the library is one shelf closer to their grand opening this Sunday, kicking off with a ribbon-cutting ceremony and a chance for visitors to finally tour the new facility. Reporting live from Andrews Park, Olivia Whitehead.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Well, there's guarded reaction to the U.S.-led raid on an ISIS compound in northeastern Syria and the killing of the group's founder and leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Most observers say it is a major setback, but are quick to point out that terrorist groups are designed to regroup and refocus. American analysts are concerned ISIS will reemerge stronger in Syria now that American forces have been deployed to protect oil supplies.
Where there is civil war, they have moved men, material, and different operations to other parts of the world, like Afghanistan. So they're not gone at all. They're still an organization that is trying to exploit civil war areas that are torn by civil war.
My question is why?
Landis says ISIS is not completely crippled by the death of Baghdadi, but it may be difficult for them to increase their influence in the near future.
A former White House security played hooky today when he was supposed to testify before Congress, causing a face-off with Democrats. Lindsey Gibbs has more on the News Center. More on this in the News Center.
Thanks, Zach. The White House will vote to formally authorize the impeachment inquiry into President Trump. Democrats originally resisted the formality, but after much criticism and a witness refusing to comply with the subpoena, the party will move forward with the vote later this week. Charles Kupperman was subpoenaed to appear today before the joint committees, but failed to make an appearance. Kupperman's legal team stated they will wait on the court verdict before Kupperman testifies. However, the former security advisor may be held in contempt for not showing up. California is in a state of emergency now as another fire breaks out near the 405 freeway, causing thousands to evacuate. The Getty fire was spurred by historic winds in California, causing over 3,000 homes and a university to quickly evacuate. Getty is not the only fire in California. Sonoma County officials have forced more than 90,000 to evacuate, the largest evacuation in nation's history. Almost 1 million people in Northern California will be left without power for the next coming days. New updates regarding the 39 bodies found in a container in Essex. The driver was charged with manslaughter, who appeared in court today. 25-year-old Maurice Robinson, who in addition to manslaughter, was also charged with conspiracy to traffic people. Irish police made a 5th arrest at the Dublin port yesterday, and Essex police have still not been able to identify the nationality or the identity of the people. Zach and Cal President Trump was booed at the World Series game inside the National Stadium. Trump was on the Jumbotron when the crowd started chanting, "Lock him up." Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Lindsey. Well, Zach, it was all sunshine yesterday, but today cold and gray yet again.
Yeah, the change in temperatures might bring those fall colors that people keep asking about. Marissa Nuzzo joins us with a live look at the weather. Marissa?
The crew and I are just outside Gaylord Hall, and I have to admit I'm happy it started drizzling a little bit and we couldn't go too far because it's pretty chilly out here, though. We are braving the cold to talk about some fall foliage. The trees right behind me are still mostly green, and up until this week, Oklahoma was in that yellow minimal category for fall foliage colors. But if we take a look at our map now and what's going on now, the colors are starting to change a little bit. We're starting to see some reds and oranges come out because central Oklahoma is in that patchy category for fall foliage colors. Now, if you're looking way up in the northern U.S., we can see more of a deep purple color, and those are past peak trees, which means that those trees are already completely bare and they've already finished with all their colors. And that's because, you know, up in the north, they've been consistently cooler than us, and we're really not far behind there. Current temperatures in Oklahoma right now are in the 30s out in the Panhandle and in the 40s here for most of the body, maybe some 50s if you're down in southeast Oklahoma. But with wind chills, it's feeling even colder. But if I stand out here any longer, it looks like I might need an umbrella because it's starting to drizzle. So Trey Bell is going to have your full forecast full with when this drizzly rain is going to end, and a trick-or-treat forecast is coming up for you later. Back to you, Cal and Zach.
Thanks, Marissa. Wildfires in California are forcing residents out of their homes. Find out what they are doing to keep people safe next on Nightly.
Plus, the Sooners are reeling after a mishap in Manhattan. The recap is coming up in sports. Well, as the California wildfires continue, schools such as UCLA are canceling classes so those living in the areas affected by the flames can evacuate safely. James Myers is following the flames closely and joins us now with the Earth Report. James?
Cal and Zach, with hurricane winds now feeding the flames, 2 major wildfires are burning at opposite ends of California. To the south of the state, Los Angeles was given new evacuation orders. Residents near Highway 405, just outside of Beverly Hills, are now in immediate evacuation. In the northern wine country part of the state, the Kincaid fire has driven more than 200,000 residents from their homes. We'll keep you updated as more details come about. Meanwhile, in the southeast part of our country, the tropical storm Olga moved through Louisiana over the weekend, causing widespread power outages. Around midday on Saturday, nearly 30,000 people were out of power. By that evening, the number faded to just over 16,000. Now the number is hovering around 8,000 people without power as of today. Hundreds of people are on the ground working on the issue, but are first focusing on emergency services, hospitals, and large-scale outages before they're going to tackle anything else. Overseas in India, Diwali, or the Festival of Lights, has been causing pollution problems for years, and this time is no different. In New Delhi, the capital of India, this is no exception. The festival, which celebrates the victory of light over darkness, is celebrated with many firecrackers that add to the smog problem already existing in the country. After last year's celebration, parts of the capital reported pollution levels almost 40 times those considered safe by the World Health Organization. Finally, Cal and Zach, for those wanting a photo with those beautiful flowers on the South Oval, they'll be in bloom for only about 2 more weeks, so make sure to plan accordingly. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, James. A part of OU's history is being removed from campus.
That's right. Coming up, we'll tell you what and why when OU Nightly continues. Plus, Trey Bell has a look at the extended forecast.
Guys, this cold weather is not going anywhere anytime soon, and I'll break down how it'll affect your trick-or-treat forecast coming up. OU Nightly, it's much warmer here in the studio than where Marissa was outside, and if we take a look, it looks just as it did. It's cloudy, it's cold. We're sitting in the 40s right now here, Norman, about 44. There's clouds, pretty much completely cloudy. I don't see any peaks of sun out there despite what this says. Light winds and dew point of 40, so that means moisture is really high. That's why we have these low clouds, and across the state those light winds are making it feel a little bit chillier than 44. 39-degree wind chill in Norman right now, 30s elsewhere. Cooler off to the northwest, but check out our friends down in southeastern Oklahoma. They're still sitting comfortable, but this front will eventually get there for them as well. And so moving forward, we've got a lot to talk about in weather. So over the past 4 hours, we've had some snow in northwestern Oklahoma, very light accumulations, if any of it is really reaching the ground. And then here in central Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma, a little bit of drizzle is developing. None of this will freeze. We will stay above freezing for the rest of this evening. Could have some patchy drizzle, though, for your drive home. So future radar, we are cloudy. We'll clear a little bit tonight. That will allow our temperatures to drop into the mid-30s, and then a little bit of freezing rain possible in west central Oklahoma headed out the door tomorrow morning. And so you see tomorrow afternoon, these showers expand nearly statewide, highest in eastern Oklahoma. And then overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, they'll continue to move out to the east. And we could see some snow in northwestern Oklahoma waking up or heading out the door Wednesday. Could see some snow there. And then this is all moving out of here by Wednesday night. And Thursday for Halloween, we'll actually see some sunshine. More on that here in a second. How much rain are we talking about? Well, totals are highest in eastern Oklahoma. Let's play this out. Upwards of 2 inches for some, especially down in southeastern Oklahoma. Flooding may become a concern for our folks down in Idabel. And then in western Oklahoma, we're quite dry, not seeing much in terms of rainfall, but we could see some snow. So a dusting to a couple tenths of an inch in far northwestern Oklahoma. Nothing significant. I don't anticipate any major travel problems from this, but it is spooky season. Check this out. Wouldn't want to go stay the night in that house, and this forecast is a little spooky as well. It's going to be cold on Halloween. Be sure to bring a jacket, some sweatpants that the little ones can put on over the costume because it's going to be quite chilly. Winds gusty out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour all night, dropping to the mid-30s by 9 p.m., but we will stay dry. There's some positive news with our Halloween forecast. Lows tonight in the 30s, warmest down in southeastern Oklahoma. That cold front is slowly making its way down there. We will stay above freezing tonight in central Oklahoma. So over the next 2 days, dreary weather, not the best weather to stay outside. Halloween, we do dry out on Thursday, a high of only 44 degrees though, and then that temperature of course will drop as we head into the evening hours. But the beginning of next week, guys, looks great. So we get through this week of this rain and this cold weather, a little taste of winter, and then we're back in the fall again early next week.
Snow MG. He's talking about snow right now in October?
Yes, in October, some of us will see some snow.
But not for us, right?
Not for us, not in central Oklahoma. We'll stay above freezing tonight. We will get below freezing a few times later this week, but we won't see any snowfall. No travel problems expected with any of this.
No surprise snowfall. Nothing like that?
Nothing crazy, no. But again, be sure to bundle up, headed out for Halloween. It's going to be really chilly.
Gotcha. Thank you very much, Trey.
Of course.
Well, a historic OU landmark will be removed this week from campus. It's a landmark that has been a staple of OU history for over 100 years. Now, most OU students walk by it on the way to class, and the traditional stump, which was planted by OU's first president, David Ross Boyd, over 100 years ago. The tree was cut down in 2006 due to disease and old age, but the stump remained. Decay and rotting wood have left pieces of the stump just lying around, posing a danger to people walking by. Just look at the right side and how it's completely fallen off. Now, OU is planning to memorialize the tree and its significance in the future. Interesting. You know who wasn't stumped last night? That was the Oklahoma City Thunder, who now have one win in the win column.
Yeah, Carly Vargas will join us with sports. Carly, dare I say the dynasty is over?
It might be. They have not looked very good, but neither have the Thunder. But one team that did look good were the Astros. Good enough to get a leg up in the World Series. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Carly Vargas, and it's time for sports. It was a sad day on Saturday as the Sooners lost their first true road game since 2014 to Kansas State. Sooner fans were enraged after their furious comeback fell short. An OU recovery of an onside kick in the final minutes was nullified by instant replay. Game Day U's William Sule and Sam Brown gave us the recap of the devastating loss.
We may not be in Wichita, but Sam, this one was definitely a shocker. The Oklahoma Sooners are taken down by the Kansas State Wildcats 48-41. I mean, what are your takeaways from this game? I mean, this team had high hopes for coming into the season, which are obviously a little bit dented at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out what to make out of this game. A furious comeback that falls just short, but for the majority part of this game, I think the Sooners were outplayed by Kansas State. Simple as that. I think Lincoln Riley was outcoached today by Chris Kleiman. Alex Grinch said after West Virginia, the defense and the team in general writes their own headlines. Today they wrote their own headlines, but I don't think they're going to like what they see.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be pretty. And this team has a bye week, obviously, coming up. And then Iowa State and Baylor, Oklahoma State still on the schedule before they get to that Big 12 championship if they can continue to win. Sam, where does this team go from here after this devastating loss?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they've got to figure out the issues on the offensive line. That was horrid today. Jalen, who looked so composed last week against West Virginia, Jalen Hurts looked absolutely flustered today on several occasions. You know, there's just a lot of little things here and there, and they're all starting to pile up. Teams are finally starting to realize how they can expose this Oklahoma defense. And the offense today was not there for the majority part of the game to back them up and to bail them out like they did last year and the year before that and the year before that.
That'll be it from us here in Manhattan. Bye week next week, but you'll see us again November 9th when the Sooners take on Iowa State at home.
The World Series is moving into Game 6 tomorrow night. Even though the Nats led the series 2-0, the Astros have made a comeback, winning 3 straight games. Tomorrow is a do-or-die situation for the Nats, but it is not looking good as it's in Houston. If Washington wins, it'll be Game 7, but if the Stros win, it's all over. And it is definitely not all over for Tiger Woods. This weekend at the Zozo Championships in Japan, that's right, I said Zozo, Tiger beat the field by 3 shots to notch his 82nd career PGA Tour win. That ties with the legendary Sam Snead for best all time. Next up for Tiger, Jack Nicklaus's 18 majors. And there's going to be a bit of a family rivalry tomorrow whenever OU's forward Brady Manick faces off with his brothers for the first time. The basketball team is starting their season with an exhibition against Southeastern Oklahoma State. Tip-off is at 6:30. Not only did Oklahoma's own Thunder beat the Warriors, they demolished them in a 28-point win. Dennis Schroeder came off the bench to score 22 points and added 8 rebounds and 6 assists. They look to keep this momentum going tonight when they face off with Russell Westbrook and the Houston Rockets. And speaking of Houston, I think I fear the Beard more than before. James Harden was so frustrated by a no call, he threw the ball down and hit himself in the face. Josh Hart reacted in the same way I think any of us would.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing. Thanks, Carly. And Halloween comes early for one museum in Minnesota.
That's right. Coming up, find out why so many creepy dolls are on display when OU Nightly continues.
I'm Victoria Perkins at the OU Nightly Update Desk. A Texas sheriff says that the man suspected of opening fire at an off-campus college party killing 2 has been arrested. The shooting happened around midnight on Saturday at what is known to be a Halloween and homecoming party for Texas A&M Commerce. Authorities believe the man was targeting one person at the party when he opened fire. The suspect has been booked into the Hunt County Jail on a charge of capital murder of multiple persons. That is it for now. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Victoria. Well, just a few days till Halloween, but one museum in Minnesota is getting in the spooky spirit a little early. The History Center of Olmsted County in Rochester held a creepy doll competition, and boy, did it deliver.
Each day, a new doll was entered into the contest, and by the looks of it, it was getting creepier by the doll. The top 3 winners of the competition will be announced later today.
I think I'm going to go with that second one.
Yeah.
Sleep with one eye open after that one.
When a doll has no hair and some weird eyes,
It's just in time for
scary.
Halloween, though.
Yeah,
So
that's
I mean,
right.
might as well do it now if you're going to.
What'd you do? One of those popped up in your room tonight, Trey?
I don't know. Probably wouldn't sleep for the rest of the night.
That's good.
But guys, I think it's actually quite a special day. Isn't it Cal's birthday?
It is Mr. Cal's
somebody's
birthday.
special
Happy birthday,
birthday.
Cal Day.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
How old are you,
Here's-
40?
Yeah, 22. Here's to 22 more.
Yeah, got to watch out.
All right. You got one last look at the weather for us?
We do, yeah. So trick or treat forecast looks really cold. It's going to be dry. We're
No good
going to stay
birthday
dry,
weather?
but it's going to be winds out of the north at about 15 miles an hour. So bundle up if you're headed out.
All right, thank you, Trey, and thank you for tuning in to OU Nightly. We're live every weekday. How about that at 4:30 from Gaylord Hall on the campus of Oklahoma. Good night.